Welcome to Study Loop.
Okay, so in this question, we want to find the number of integers which satisfy the expression a is less than n less than b. So what we'll do is consider simpler cases and then make it more abstract, make it more difficult as we go. So first, we consider the case when 0 is less than n is less than 3. So if you just draw this out, we have 0, 1, 2, and 3. Well, then the number of integers that's between 0 and 3 is just 2 because you only have 1 and 2. So the number of n's is just 2. Specifically, it's 3 minus 1 because you count 1, 2, and 3, but we're not counting 3, so we just subtract 1. So generalizing that result then, if you want to be less than b, you have 0, 1, 2, blah, blah, blah. b, what you do is you count 1, 2, 3, 4 up to b and subtract 1. So the number of n's in this case is equal to b minus 1. Now, we want to see what happens when we don't have 0 here. So let's consider the case we have 5 is less than n is less than, let's say, 7. So we have 5, or let's make this 8. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Ooh, 8. So instead of looking at the numbers in this case, though, what we'll do is we'll map these numbers, 1, 2. So we'll map 5 to 1, we'll map 5 to 0, 6 to 1, 7 to 2, 8 to 3. And what we see is that in this case, there are two numbers between 5 and 8. But that's the same thing as finding the number of n's which satisfy between 0 and 3. So the number of n is also equal to 2. So then these two systems are equivalent. So how you went from this stage to this stage by subtracting 5 from this, subtracting 5 from 6, subtracting 5 from 7, subtracting 5 from 8. So instead of looking between 5 and 8, what we'll do is we'll look between 0 is less than n is less than 8 minus 5, which is 3. So then when you have in general a is less than n is less than b, for a and b are some integers, what we'll do is we'll subtract everything from a. So we can bring down everything to a, so b minus a. Now we go back to this formula again where we subtract 1, and then the number of n's is just b minus a minus 1. Okay, so how do we generalize this for a and b real numbers? A and b are real numbers. So if we have a, b, what we'll do is we'll take the floor of a and the ceiling of a, then the floor of b and the ceiling of b. So it's pretty clear that we want to take either the floor of a or ceiling of a and subtract that from either the floor of b and ceiling of b. But which one makes more sense? Well, in this case, it makes a lot more sense to take this number and subtract it from this number. So then the number of n's is equal to ceiling of b subtracted from floor of a, subtract 1. The reason why is because if we want to find the interval between ceiling of a and b, well then we miss out on the ceiling of a and ceiling of floor of b. If we do the same thing for this one, then we'll miss out on the floor of b. So the only way to accept both the floor of b and ceiling of a is to use this range. So therefore, this is your general formula.